Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Newcomers Meet, organized by Purbayan Canada 2024. My name is Dr. Shutama Ghosh. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Geography and Environmental Studies at Toronto Metropolitan University. The work Purbayan Canada has been doing in helping immigrants settle in the Canadian cities, particularly in the GTA, has been about a decade long. And in this regard, Shondip Chaudhuri, Bashov Goswami, and Prosenjit Roy are three people who have been pioneers in providing leadership in mentoring newcomers. And there are others as well, some of whom are today in today's channel. Panel. What we are going to do today is that we are going to provide some career advice to engineers as well as people who are interested in pursuing some kind of science-based or health science-based professional occupations. Before we go into that, let me quickly acknowledge that all of us live and work in Mississauga. And so I will read the land acknowledgements. The city of Mississauga is located on lands that have been occupied by numerous indigenous nations since time immemorial. Settlement and the eventual growth of the city were made possible with the signing of treaties over 200 years ago. We acknowledge the lands that constitute the present-day city of Mississauga as being part of the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat and the Wyandot nations. We recognize these peoples and their ancestors as peoples who inhabited these lands since time immemorial. The city of Mississauga is home to many global indigenous peoples. As a municipality, the city of Mississauga is actively working toward reconciliation by confronting our past and our present, providing space for indigenous peoples within their territory to recognize and uphold their treaty rights and to support indigenous peoples. We formally recognize the Anishinaabe origins of our name and continue to make Mississauga a safe space for all Indigenous peoples. So over to today's host, Pritam Chaudhuri.
Good evening, Shutama. It was a great introduction, and welcome to all of us on this evening for introduction of the newcomer symposium that Purbayan has been hosting for a few years now. My name is Pritam Chaudhuri. I'll be your host for two important sessions here. We'll be covering engineering, science, and healthcare. And professionally, I've been doing. I'm a project management director for a manufacturing company in Toronto. But the head office is in the US. But I have been doing, hosting events for the communities, for friends and families for many years in Toronto. So it's a great opportunity for me to host some of the panels here. So this is for if you're a newcomer, if you are an international student, if you're an open work permit holder, this is a great place, an opportunity to hear from our industry leaders who have been also in your shoes in once upon a time, I'm sure, and they have climbed through the ladder. And today they're going to share some of their experience. And I'm going to be asking a few questions that may be relevant for most of you who are watching this. And from there, and we'll see how the question and answer goes. So Shutama, if you are okay, we can get started with the introductions of our panel members. So we can start with the science and the healthcare. And then we'll go to the engineering, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so with that, I want to introduce, we have Shurovita Ghosh Banerjee amongst us. Make sure that she is online here. Yes, she is. There's too many people to move around. Shurovita completed a master's in food and nutrition from University of Calcutta in 2010. She was a teacher in high school for about 7 years. Then she decided to change her career and completed a dental assisting diploma from Canada and started the journey in dentistry in 2019. Currently pursuing a dental hygiene diploma to grow further in dentistry as a registered dental hygienist. So welcome, Suravita. So, and also we have Dr. Moshumi Mahanto. Dr. Mahanto is an MBBS and a postgraduate in clinical research. She worked in AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Science, New Delhi as research officer in gastroenterology for 10 years before moving to Toronto in 2019. So welcome to Moshumi too. With that, I'm going to open my first question to Suravita. If you're okay, then we can probably unmute your mic. Welcome, Suravita.
Hi. Thank you so much, Prita.
You're welcome. I have introduced yourself with a brief summary. If you would like to add something, you can tell during your questions, during your answers, and you can cover anything that you want to tell the audience. So my first question is, when you first arrived in Canada, what other career options did you explore before moving to becoming a dental hygienist?
Okay, so I came to Canada in the year 2017. And so I came with a PR to Canada, and before coming to Canada, while we were applying for PR, so as you said that I had a master's in food and nutrition, so I wanted to pursue a food technology industries, like work in food technology over here. But so I was looking for some courses which I can do here so that I can get a job in food tech. But that was one field which I explored, and I did an online course, like few certification from Kolkata while I was planning to come here. But when I arrived here, then I also found out about the teaching profession, because I was a teacher for 7 years. So I wanted to go for high school teaching. So these were the two things that I looked for, like I explored these two professions. But the feedback that I got from one of the career counselor in my daughter's school, she used to come like once a week for the newcomer parents for career counseling. So she told me that if you want to pursue high school teaching, so it will take you time to get a permanent job in Ontario, especially in GTA, because it is so much saturated. It's going to take a lot of time. So she still told me that if you want to, you can go ahead and do the licensing for the teaching. So, but like I came to Canada with a daughter of 4 years old. So we were looking forward to settle very soon. So I said, I cannot invest so much time. So I started looking for something that will be fast to settle down. So I started to explore Indeed. And I started to see as I'm fond of bioscience, so I was looking for bioscience related professions like a medical lab technician, or maybe something related to food technology or microbiology or something like that. So yes, according to going back to your question, I explored mainly the food tech and the teaching profession over here. And then I further explored what are the options in North America, which are not so popular in India. So I'll continue after you ask me the next question.
So just for the audience, just for clarification, that Suravita mentioned Indeed. So it spells INDEED. So this is a very popular job search portal for the newcomers and new immigrants. So just for your information, that is a portal that gives you an analytics of which field there are more jobs, there are more demand, and that's what she mentioned. So thank you, Suravita. So comes to my next question is, registered dental hygienist, right? So we know that dentistry here is very regulated. It's it's expensive as well, and it's not formally covered by our Ontario government fully, but you have the private insurance for that. So what actually you found, some of the pros and cons that you're going through this career, pursuing this career as becoming a registered dental hygienist for those who'd like to pursue like you? What are
I
the
will
challenges you're facing right now, like for the pros and the
okay.
cons?
Yeah, so of course I'll come to the pros, like the advantages of this profession first. The first advantage is it is a very growing field in North America. So anybody walking into this country, right from the airport to wherever they go, right, left and right, back and forth, they will see at least 4 dental offices. I think everybody agrees with me. So it will not leave you like this. It will not dishearten you. You will definitely get some job or the other, no matter wherever you are. Even if you are like away from the main city, it will give you some job. So the reason that I chose this career is, of course, this is an advantage that is the reason I chose, because I was looking for some new career to pick up. As I told you that I was searching Indeed. So I came through, like I also started collecting some brochures from colleges, the career colleges, looking at what are the courses they have, because I've never been out of India, to be honest, and I don't know what goes outside India. Like for my education also, I was all through in India. So I wanted to, there are so many different several courses that even the title is unknown to me. I don't know the title, like what is it called. So I was looking for those courses, and then I was putting those keywords and in on Indeed, and I was searching how many jobs they have in GTA, because I was living in GTA. So I searched for medical lab technician in GTA. It gave me 64 jobs. It showed me. And when I start searching dental jobs like dental assisting, dental hygiene, the contrast was so huge, you won't believe. It showed me 672 jobs in GTA. So it was an immediate, like a decision that
Decision maker, yes. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So, and I loved bioscience also. So I said, okay, I can do this. So I chose this career. So this is the biggest advantage, that the job opportunity is very high in
Okay.
dentistry.
Great.
The disadvantage is, I will not say disadvantage, I cannot say, because I'm
Challenges, you can call
into,
it challenges.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, challenges, because healthcare is a challenge. Because it is not an executive time job, first of all. You cannot go in 9 and come out at 5. So if you're having family and small children at home, you have to balance your life extremely. Like either you're going early, like I used to go out, currently I go like very early in the morning, and sometimes I used to come late. So I'm almost 13 hours outside the house. Or like, yeah, so it is, I told you, it's not an executive job. And it includes emergencies also. So suppose you are over at 7 and somebody walks in with some pain, you are expected to wait, and your family member needs to adjust with this also, because you're serving something which is serious, human body, so it cannot be timed. So
Right.
this is the thing.
So I guess adjusting the time on with your family and your personal life with this
Yes.
profession is a challenging, and people should also consider that prior to exploring this field. My last question for now, before I move to Moushumi, is you mentioned some of the colleges. So if you can refer a couple of college names that you explored for this to pursuing this career, that'll be helpful for our audience. That you say to career colleges. Can you refer a couple of career colleges that they can explore and find more details about these programs?
Sure. So since I was living in Brampton when I came in, and I told you my daughter was 4 years old, and without a car, commuting to a far distance was difficult, because I need to be back home by 5 o'clock to be with my daughter or pick her up from daycare or something like that. So I couldn't choose colleges which are very far away from my residing place. But there are colleges, like coming to first, I'll mention community college. George Brown is a very good college. If people can afford to travel that distance, and and their merit is accepted by their qualifications and everything, because getting into community college is harder than private colleges. So George Brown is a college, very good college for dental. And in community college, I have done my first diploma from Medics College. Medics is a very reputed college in healthcare, private college. So I have done from the Brampton campus. It is there in Toronto also. So it is also a very good college. And currently I'm with the Canadian Academy of Dental Hygiene. It is in Mississauga. This is also a very good college.
Member of it, right? You're a member of that college, Canadian
No, it is no, it's not a membership with that.
Association of Hygiene.
No, the college which is we are regulated to, that is the CDHO, that is Canadian Dental Hygienists, the College
Okay.
of Canadian Dental Hygienists. Yeah, so that is different. So this is the college where you study.
Okay.
So this is the Canadian Academy, and then we have Toronto College of Dental Hygiene also. This is also a private college, and then we have George Brown again, which is a community college. The course, yeah, the course length is like it's lengthier in community college than private colleges. Private college is more like compressed and more intense.
So length means how long is the community college usually last for? Is it 2 years program? Is it a 3 year program?
Sorry, community college is a 3 years program. So if anybody is okay to invest 3 years, because I wasn't, I don't have time to do 3 years, but it is more relaxed. But private college is more intense and it is faster. It is 18 months to 20 months course.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you, Suravita, for the information. If we have any questions in the chat box in the Q&A, we'll come back to you. So switching to Moushumi here. Hello, Dr. Moushumi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so Moushumi, you know, I introduced you as an MBBS and postgrad in clinical research right now. So if you want to start with exactly what you're currently doing in that field and your current career role, just for the audience, and then I'll come back to the questions. If you can give us like a 2 minutes of a little bit more in-depth introductions about your current work, that'll be helpful for our audience.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Moushumi, and at present I'm working as a research coordinator at Toronto General Hospital. I'm working mostly in the clinical research profiles. Initially I started in cardiology, and I have recently moved to cardiovascular surgery. So yes, I'm working as a research coordinator. I just landed flukily in Canada. I never had any plans to move here. My husband moved here for further fellowships here to Toronto General, and then we had to move in suddenly, like in just 2 months span period. So back home, I was working as a research officer at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. So there I was working basically totally in clinical research. Initially, I started my background as just basic a CRC, the clinical research coordinator. Then gradually down the years, I moved to become the research officer, basically handling all the clinical trials in gastroenterology and hepatology. So when I moved here, it was a very sudden decision. I was not initially planning to work because like my husband was just moving here for 2 years. So he moved around 6 months back. And then suddenly the Canadian winter just moved him into depression. And then in the next 2 months, we had to move with the kids and everything here. So when he said that decision of moving, I started looking up for jobs back from India. And the harsh reality struck that medical degree is not recognized here at all. So being a doctor, that is a very big, it's almost like you're breaking your spine, right? That you struggle so hard, you give all India competition exams, you get into a med school. And I studied in a government medical program. So it was like you go through all the entrances, do your this ones, and then I did my master's in clinical research. And then I was working in a top institute like India, I mean like AIMS in India. So there is no comparison. Like I'm not just throwing like here like stones and pills. But then when I started applying for jobs, things are very different here in Canada. Here, sophistication, the soft skills are very important. That's what I realized. In India, when you go for an interview, they see your degree. That's the first thing. And then they see how much you score in your marks. Your interviews are based mostly on your marks or on how you score. Here, your interviews is based on how you make your resume. And then how you talk, how much you know technically, what skills are there. As a doctor, we are we lag behind a lot technically. I mean, I don't know about others. I really had to struggle through that because back when I was working, I had my own data entry operator who would be handling the computer related whatever is required, making the source notes or making the documents that is required for clinical trials. But then here you have to sit and you have to make. So I had to really undergo vigorous training, retrain myself as per the Canadian standards to get into a job. Getting into a job, initially I was not keen because my son was at that time 3 years old and my daughter, she was 8 years old. So we just moved in a time where my kids needed me more than anything else. And moving to a new country, it was a very tough decision. When I started looking for jobs and everything, it was just like it took, ultimately, even when I got one call for a job, I was interviewed 8 times for a basic research analyst job, which is like you just start the level of your this ones. Issue became thing is that I cannot practice medicine here. I'll be have to doing mostly paperwork, not the proper medical work. But then yes, I started as a part-timer because I couldn't manage things well, the kids being small. My husband was a full-time, he was working as a fellow, whereas back home, he was working as a professor in cardiology. So it took a big hit on the things that sacrifices that needed to be made on my part, on the family part, and everything else.
So that leads to my actually next question. As you say that it's a very challenging scenario being a fully accredited doctor in India and working in AIMS. Those who are have lived in India or knows about the medical system in India, they know where AIMS stands for, right? We
Yes.
sometimes call it an IIT
Yes.
of medicine, right? So
Yes.
with that, like right now you're pursuing as a clinical research lead. So can you just explain for the audience, because being a full-fledged doctor, what are the main lead points or what are the criteria that you chose to that this is the best way to eventually become, I guess your aim would be to become the MD and a practicing a doctor in Canada? Or is that something that you're thinking in your mind? What made you choose this, becoming the clinical research lead? Or is this like a bridge to become to that level and basically reprove yourself to the Canadian Medical Association?
Back home, I was not working I was already working in clinical research field only. I never planned to move anywhere else beyond the clinical research field. So
Okay.
clinical research field has various parts. Like you have a part where you're doing the preclinical studies, which is mostly done on animals. And then you have the clinical studies, which are done on human beings. But then back at home, I could practice. I could prescribe my medicines whenever is required. Here, I cannot prescribe medicines, but then it's still an advantage because the moment I landed here in this apartment where I stay, it's mostly for international doctors. So all the doctors who come as international fellows, so most of them, they end up staying in this apartment because it's in core downtown and we have like 4 hospitals near my vicinity. Sick Kids, Toronto General, Mount Sinai, Sunnybrook, St. Mike Hospital, all are like, it's just 5 minutes walking distance. And this apartment is mostly for international doctors. So in my apartment, I have only doctors there. So that's when I realized that me being a clinical research professional was way advantageous because I have seen radiologists, gynecologists, any super specialist, name them, either the husband or the wife is sitting at home and looking after the kids because the degree is not recognized. You cannot join any hospital. So for me, that was a big advantage because I could at least go ahead and pursue my career. I advise anybody else who really wants to do this, either come in your really young age when you feel that you don't have so much burden of having a family or kids, or else like think of another elite professional. Clinical research is very good. You will not be making so much money like you make in India, but at least it's way better than sitting at home and just rotting away your degrees. I have seen nephrologists sitting at home, cardiologists, wives sitting at home. They're just looking after the kids. I'm not saying it's bad or good. It's just that your career is gone for, it's like you're just stagnating the career. So if you look for something like this, clinical research is very good. I know people now advise everyone else who's coming that try looking for at least observerships, just enter into the hospital. Here they try to give you observerships, especially when at least your husband can talk or the wife or the spouse can talk to the departments where they're working, because clinical research always has jobs, always, especially in academic hospitals like Toronto General, Sunnybrook, all these hospitals, they're academic hospitals. And if you really want to engage yourselves, go do observership, start. That starting has to be done from your end. You just cannot keep on thinking in the mind that I am a doctor, I will not do these things. That mindset has to go. That yes, you will not be allowed to touch patients. There will be many times when you want to give your opinion because you are much more basically clinically. I feel that Indians are way better as clinicians. Here things are more like too much they've too.
Regulated or
No, it's more protocol based. It's like very
protocol
much
based?
protocol based. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, here like everything is protocol based. Like you cannot move away from the protocol. So here the things are quite different. You need to develop, you need to learn how to talk. The thing is that in India, most people, they have this God complex. It's very common in doctors. I will not deny that. So you need to understand that it's not longer effective here. Here, even the ward boy is as equally important as you are. So the developing the soft skills, learning how you can talk to people, and then more importantly is how you mingle with people. You need to go for seminars, you need to go for conferences. Those things, even if you're not doing anything else, you're sitting at home, attend those. Those are very important. These are the ways how you can make contacts. And especially if you want to join a healthcare profession, I feel that your reference here is very important, because without any reference, you cannot enter any hospital. So your spouses should be your first point of creating that contacts, whoever is sitting at home and wants to pursue, whoever the other person is working. It should be like, yes, enter into the hospital, do observership, 5, 6 months, 7 months. Another thing is that you can always start an MSc. That ways, MScs and PhDs, they are really given very importance here. So that ways, at least you start the career. And clinical research is like, you have 2 degrees here. We have got a SOCRA, Society of Clinical Research Associates, and another one is ACRP. It's Accredited Society for Clinical Research.
So yeah, so if you can just for the purpose of our audience, just for my last question was the reference to where people can look into the more details of how to become a clinical research associate or lead in Canada. I think you are just about mentioning those associations. If you can just mention it so that we can get recorded properly. So what are the 2 institutions you were mentioning just now?
Yeah, there are like 2 societies. One is called the SOCRA and one is ACRP. So these are the 2 professional societies. But for their getting into there also, you need to have either a master's degree in clinical research. There is like few institutes which offer those degrees. One is Missioner, which offers that. The York University also gives, Seneca also gives, this gives 1-year degree in clinical research professionals. So those degrees are very good. These are the at least basic degrees for entering into the professions. Most of these colleges, they hold those fairs where like this just start you, like you start as a study assistant or you just start as a research analyst to enter. So these like you need to have a basic degree first in clinical research, because it is not like mainstream like medicine. This is not mainstream medicine. It's a totally different approach. Here, like everything is clinical research per se is very protocol based. You do not, each and everything you do is documented. So you have to be very thorough with the way you do it. So you need to relearn how you need to do it. So those things are very professional. I mean, like it's a better way that you need to get some degrees on it. Few institutes they offer, they're not very expensive. If you're a PR, I think per semester they take around $700 or $800. So there are some which offers MSc, there are some which offers only diploma. So somebody with a medical background, they can just do a diploma, or somebody who wants like who is a BSc or an MSc from back home, they can do another MSc degree. So that will help them. Me being a doctor back home, I have the knowledge, so it's easy for me to move ahead. So
sorry, Moushumi, I know you want to share a lot of things.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got to move on to the other panelists, but thank you very much for all the information. I think you have shared the references, the colleges. So I encourage those who are interested in this career. This is a very helpful field, and those who are in this clinical research, they can definitely look into the website, go into the York University Seneca College program list, and find out more information. And as Moushumi said, if you have these masters on this field, definitely you're in an advantageous position already to get into the market. So thank you, Moushumi. Unfortunately, I wanted to hear a lot, but we'll give the other panelists some more opportunities in the other field. So stay tuned. All right. So moving on. So do we have any other questions in this field before we move on? Let's see here. Anything here in the chat box? No, I think, okay, perfect. All right, so we are now going to shift the gear towards a non-medical field. So we're going to talk about some little bit of engineering. So we have three panelists here. So we're going to welcome Pooja, Amitavo, and Shomok. So we're going to start with Pooja Paul Chaudhary. So make sure she's online here. Let me see where it go. Pooja, are you here? Just want to make sure mic check.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Amitavo, just going to mic check you are there. Just want a quick mic check, Amitavo, and then up and Shomok, mic check. We are good.
Sure.
All right, perfect. So, welcome Pooja Paul Chaudhary. She's an electronics engineering undergrad from Heritage Institute of Technology in India, followed by a master's in industrial engineering from Georgia Tech, USA. Pooja is a seasoned supply chain professional with 8 years at Dell and 4 years at Siemens, currently serving as a global supply chain manager at Dell. Her career has spanned across India, USA, and Canada. Pooja is one of those inspirational women who is not only a brilliant in academically and also professionally, but also a mother and a very talented elocutionist. Thank you. Welcome, Pooja, to this panel. I'm going to continue with introducing Amitavo Roy. Amitavo Roy, he's a civil engineering professional with 25 years of experience in construction, project management, and tendering. He arrived in Canada in 2014, and within a very short duration has reached a high position within his current organization and worked in the Middle East in Doha in the oil and gas and power generation field for 10 years. He's currently working in a reputable construction company in Toronto named Pack Building Group as head of estimation. Welcome, Amitavo Roy.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have Shomok Chatterjee. Shomok is an electronics and telecommunication engineering graduate from BE College, Shibpur College, currently is known as the Indian Institute of Engineering Science and Technology. Shomok came to Canada as an international student to pursue an MBA, Bregman Scholar from the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto. With an impressive career graph, currently Shomok is a partner in the financial service team of Deloitte in Toronto and leads the firm's payments and blockchain practice in Canada. So I want to welcome Shomok. Welcome to this evening. Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to diverse the questions a little bit among three of you. So we're going to start with Pooja. So Pooja, since you have been working in the Dell, we all use Dell. I'm currently using Dell as well, and we are familiar with the Dell. So when you arrived in Canada, if you want to share, what are probably the top three challenges you faced to do the transition from your Indian experience to USA and then to Canada? So we're going to focus on the Canadian field. I know you already been in USA. So how was the transition into getting into Canadian job market in your field?
So my entry into the Canadian market has not been like didn't have to. So I took an intercompany transfer. I was working for Dell in US. So I worked there for 6 years and 2 years in Canada. So mine was more of like an intercompany transfer. So
okay.
So I didn't get to explore the job market in Canada in terms of like being a new applicant here or anything. It's like the challenges for me were different, like adjusting to, so when you take an intercompany transfer, you have to adjust to the pay scale of that country. So those are the kind of, and then coming and settling in this new country, finding daycare for your daughter. So those were some of the challenges. And my move was also during pandemic. So that had its own set of challenges. Then right after the pandemic, when people are returning to office, which is right about now, then there is with the exec leadership, people get more face time, which I don't, because I am a full-time remote working for my same, I'm doing my same job that I used to do in US. So my set of challenges have been very different rather than entering into the Canadian job market per se.
Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll divert the question a little bit different. Those who are in Canada right now, who are pursuing careers in supply chain, or they're international student or a PR, what can you tell them about this field where you're working on in the supply chain in the IT or the technology world? What are the top things that they should be looking to get into a similar or position like you, or working towards where you are right now? So what are the areas they should look into, and how is the market right now?
So essentially, first thing first, if you're coming with an experience from India, it is usually not counted as an experience here. It's like your North American experience is very valuable, both in US and Canada. But when I started off in US, the Indian experience, although I had like a 4-year, it is similar here. You almost start off as an entry level. You have to go through that grind. And just because you have like 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, I've seen 10 years professional in India or other countries, which you still have to go through that entry level thing, unless it's an intercompany transfer, which makes your life easier here. That's number one. Second, you have to set your expectations right and be ready to do certification, or be ready to take up like a master's course, because that will accelerate your entry into the market. And third, and most important, I should have probably started, is like networking. You should go to career fairs. You should go to like networking within your community, outside your community, wherever you get a lead. It's like absolutely essential to do that networking, because most of your doors will open through that. And Indeed, LinkedIn, these are very important. You should have a most up-to-date profile on LinkedIn, most up-to-date on Indeed, and keep an eye. So those are very important. And there are certification. Be sure to do it from a reputed certification that is recognized worldwide, instead of just like a regional certification. Like ASIC is one of them. So you have to you can do a certified quality engineer or CSCMP. These are like worldwide recognized, because they are recognized in Canada. If tomorrow you move to a different country, you should not have to leave your certification here. Similarly, if you're in a different country and looking for a certification, do a certification that is recognized worldwide and not just in that country.
So if we're talking about certification, you are at Dell, so we know what Dell does. So is this certification focused on IT section, or it's a global that can be like industrial and manufacturing? It doesn't matter whichever field you're studying. This is a global certification, applies to any field you're working. Am I right?
Yeah.
Is that?
Like I am a certified quality engineer, so it has nothing to do with ID. I am looking into like the quality of the manufacturing processes mostly. So it's like there are a whole bunch of certification. It does not have to be just IT-based certification. But certifications come with it. Like some of the certifications, once you get it, you're done for life. But then you have to recertify yourself. Right. Like for so you have to keep up to date. Like you can't just forget, like fire and forget. So those are it does not have to be just IT.
Okay. So before I move on to the next panelist, my last question is: you mentioned CQU, Certified Quality Engineer. Just for the audience, if they were interested, where can they find more information in, how can they become a CQU in Canada? What would be your reference links or website for them to look for?
So I will send the link. It's an ASIC. They certify. It's a certified quality engineer. So every 3 years you have to recertify. They have like their set of study materials. It's a world recognized. For me, I actually I did the certification when I was working in US, but I took the test when I was in India because I was doing vacation. I was in vacation. So I had my test scheduled in India. So it's a world recognized. You have centers all over the world. I will send the link in the chat.
In the chat box. Okay, that'll be great, Pooja. Thank you very much.
We can also ask, sorry to interrupt. I think we can ask all of the panelists to please send your information to Purbayan Canada. Purbayan Canada has their own website, and from there we can link people who need more information directly to you, because we also have a repository now of people who are willing to help, and all people here are in that repository. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Shazama. Okay, so we'll move on to, thank you, Pooja. We'll move on to our next panelist, Mr. Amitav Roy. Welcome. So I'm going to jump right into a question. So From your background, it is I'm assuming there is non-IT at this time. Am I see that? So these are
Yes.
interesting topics. This is a construction, project management, estimating group. So for my first question to you is, what was your top two challenges to get into this field in Canada? Because you have a lot of experience in the Middle East and outside of Canada. What would be the two top challenges that you faced? Based on your experience, you didn't come at a very young age. So let's in 2014 only. So if you can share with our PR of the newcomers to get into this construction management field professional, how did you bridge the gap through the challenges?
Thanks, Purbayan, to give us the opportunity. So to explain something, it's a little bit interesting because the age people start thinking on settlement, final things. So at that time, I took the challenge to come in Canada. So we had the three friends were discussing when we are in Europe trip that why we won't go in Canada. They're asking a lot of civil engineers people. So then we decided to explore the opportunity, and then that time the Ontario was a cap, federal was cap. So we explored with Quebec. So we started learning for me, my wife, and all the families. Three of us started learning French because the French was mandatory. So A2 level we finished. So from Alia Francais, and then we apply for Quebec provincial certification to get in Canada. So then out of three, I was selected for interview. Then I was called to in Turkey. I went appear in interview. I asked specifically the question to the immigration consultant that how is the opportunity? How is the opportunity in the Canada and about the civil engineering field? So the answer was very positive. Obviously, they wanted people to come because a lot of people required in Canada, especially skilled worker. So I applied in skilled worker, right? So then I got the approval, and then I got the PR in the month of August 2014. I came Canada in Quebec, and the picture came in different completely, and which I was expecting nothing. So different because they need exclusively pure French speaking people, has to be academic, proper meeting and drawing, reading, study, everything. So complete engineering is in French. So you have to know the French. Then we decided to do something to survive, right? I was in Middle East, so I left the job, everything. So at the time I was thinking to go back again. Then we decided to take the challenge. Then I was started working in a McDonald's. Leaving my job as a project manager of the company was $100 million project I was responsible. So then started working in McDonald's. And then after I find a job as a customer consultant as a one corporate company with to survive myself, and then start exploring my position in Quebec. But it's not happened for 4 years. So no question, no response, no recruiter is responding. They say French, French, French. So then I started exploring option in the Ontario. So there's the two things in Indeed and LinkedIn. I put my career, and then one of the guy in Ontario, one of the professional, PNG professional, he was very nice. He guided me. He said, Amitabh, you are in construction and project management field. I know you have a vast experience, but I would suggest you go with the estimation, which is very, very demandable in Canada, because we don't have very, very much estimator in Canada. So estimator is kind of tendering. This is the key role in the business. So they will price and get the business in for the company, right? So then I changed my portfolio in estimate because I was a project manager. I have an experience that too. And then I got a call for co-op. I came from Quebec, the 3 months stay here, 2 months I stay here and did the co-op free of cost. They didn't pay me even to get the experience, Canadian experience. So that is my investment, right? To get a Canadian experience in construction field. Then that company called me after 4 months that we have a new job. Can you come and join in a company as an employee? Then I joined here, and it started from 2017. And now from there, I'm now in the head of estimation. So one by one, this is my third job fourth job in Canada. So after that, So other 3 jobs I got from LinkedIn. The directly the recruiter came and contacted me. Can you join your company? This is my package. This is my
Okay.
package. So
Okay.
this is the thing happened. The 4 years I struggled. I did my struggle for another 1 year here and to get the experience. And then after the touchwood, I'm going smooth. So
Okay,
far.
that's great. And it's a very encouraging story that, you shouldn't, leave courage. And if you're taking a challenge, you should be patient, be ready to invest your time and effort, and eventually it will pay off. Now, before I move on to our next panelist, my one of my last questions to you is, with your so much experience in engineering, there's a lot of new immigrants who have engineering background in India or other parts of the world. And as you know, Ontario is a very regulated from a professional engineering point of view. I myself, as a professional engineer in Ontario, but because I did my education here, I didn't have to go through that challenge of international education.
Right.
But what is your tips on or advice for those who would like to become a professional engineer in Ontario, eventually with their international engineering degree? I know the relaxation is there for now from an experience point of view, but is it something that they should definitely look for, or you think a non-engineering in a senior role like you can also work equally better for international engineers?
So if the person wants to go in the design field, have to a professional degree, a professional engineer certification. Okay,
Right.
so there is no choice. Okay, so if someone wants to be in construction and project management, no need to do any professional engineering stamp. So you just go for PMP, obtain the PMP, standard PMP, or obtain for gold seal certification. You can do the CET, other option, you will get a very good job.
Okay.
In my profession as an estimator, I didn't do any professional engineering. I could have applied, but I'm getting touchwood is okay, good salary so far. So yeah, because it's a demand. What's the demand? Demand is important. When I saw the applicants are only 15 applicants, then I saw this position is very demandable. When I saw this 1,000 applicant, that position is very competitive. So
that's right.
That's the important key. Okay.
No, because this has been a very struggling point to a lot of international engineers. They think that they have to get this license and they're sweating over how to get it. But I think your words of wisdom here, you say that unless you are in the design field, that you have to, you're sealing, you're reviewing and approving design, you do not have to pursue the PhD, but there are other options.
I'll just tell you one thing. One guy came engineer from APCONS. He was one young guy. He came here. He was electrical master degree. A lot of people told that go to the professional engineers and this. I said, no, don't do. You want a job. He was so frustrated. I said, okay, I will give you some reference. So I just put some reference on electrical company. They took the interview. He joined as a project coordinator. Now he's a project manager. He started career with 47,000 per year. Now his salary is 115,000 within three years. So why they need professional engineers? He's young guy, 28 years age. So he's not project manager. So this is the opportunity. You have to choose the where the market demand.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Amitabh. Okay, we'll go to our final panelist here. Shomok has been patiently waiting and hearing. I'm sure he gathered some info in other fields. Shomok, welcome to this panel interview here today. So your career, you had completely electronics and telecommunication engineering from one of the very reputed universities in West Bengal, and still it is. And then you pursued your MBA from Rotman School. Now you're in a financial services as a partner with one of the top 5 companies in the same field in the world. So what are the biggest challenge, or what was the driver for you to switch from an engineering background, engineering work, to this financial market? What made you choose this change of your portfolio?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. I think my first jobs out of undergrad was with PricewaterhouseCoopers back in India, and like I was a software engineer there, and like that is how I started my career. And like as I started working there, I tended to gravitate towards more understanding the tenets of running the business. Like to an extent, I did software engineering for 2 years, and what I was feeling is it's kind of the like in India in a software engineering field, and it's different here. But in India, you're essentially a translator. You're taking specs that is written by teams who sit with their clients, and you translate it into code. Like that's basically the job. There wasn't a lot of opportunity sitting in India to be part of the discussions on what are you trying to build, what are you trying to change. So that's what I wanted to do a bit there. So I had the opportunity. I wrote my GMAT. I applied to a number of universities in North America. I ended up choosing Rotman. So my journey was a little different than both Amitabh, Pooja, and the others here. In the sense, I came to this country as an international student, didn't really know anybody, like completely. I didn't have a work permit, was on a student permit and a student visa at that time. Like Canada is not cheap, especially MBA education is not cheap. So that was on my mind. So you're starting off at a negative in terms of debt, so you always have to work with that in mind. So all of those factors were important, but I think the shift to your question was I did want to get on the side of how do you run and operate a business and want to transition from my software engineering background. So that is where the shift happened.
Okay, so you're saying if there are a lot of international students who are who may have the same mindset as you, as a lot of IT people in India. So you're saying that if you want to pursue with your engineering background and look into the financial sector, there is opportunities in Canada. Is that right to say
Yeah,
that?
I think there is a lot. Like markets are cyclical, right? So I graduated into a market which was 2009, which was last financial crisis. Nobody really had a job. People were losing jobs every day. Actually, I was the only person who got hired at Deloitte that year, for that cohort, which was, I find it fortunate. Uh, but markets are cyclical. Like you just have to be a little bit more patient in terms. We're going through another cycle, right? Like we're there aren't a lot of jobs going around right now. So I think patience is one of those words which I tell people. Like you cannot rush yourself into it, but you should be prepared and you should put yourself out there. I think my advice would be, especially for students, like who are in my shoes, like I was 15 years back now. Uh, Acknowledge that you are starting almost with no network. And I think Pooja mentioned this. Like it is incredibly important to put yourself out there and start to create a network, and that can take the form of job fairs. Pooja talked about it. That can take the form of people who are willing to mentor and help you, as Amitav pointed out in his journey. It can also be finding people in communities like this, like Purbayan, who is willing to make that one other connection for you, right? So you have to keep at it. I think it's important, especially when you have no network, to have a focus of what are you trying to get into. Is it banking? Is it consulting? Is it construction? Like whatever be the industry that you want to be part of. In a down market, choose something that is close to what you've done in the past. Don't build rockets and then want to build airplanes. Like try to do that. But have a focus. And once you have a focus, you have a frame of what are the type of people you're trying to meet.
Right.
Right. So I think that's incredibly important to do, is build your network. It takes time. For every 30 emails you write, you'll get one response. Like accept that, and just chip away at meeting that next individual and the next individual. A warm introduction always helps better than going cold.
Okay, so there was a question related to that on the chat
Yeah.
box here. So how would you advise newcomers to negotiate their salaries? As we know, a lot of newcomers are often shortchanged.
Right. So I would say, I was going to just go at that. It's a brilliant question. And I find myself on the other side of this these days. So I think that's also fascinating in the way that it's come. I think there's two things. One, research. Like there are ways to research. Like there are pay comparison websites, which, like PayScale is one. There are a number of others which you can find, which will give you a general sense based on level and companies what you expect to be in the range. Like try multiple different organizations. If you're looking at banks, look at all five. Look at the role you're trying to target, whether it's a like banking center consultant or whether it's some like business analyst jobs. Like find the titles, list them down on a spreadsheet, find averages. Like look at what's your zone, right? Like know that you're possibly coming in where the other side has leverage on you. You want the job, there's probably 10 like you. So know that you're going to be a little bit on the other side of this, but play up your strengths. The other thing I see is, especially in South Asian like communities, as we go in, we're way too timid.
Yeah.
Like we don't ask for what we are worth. My advice is, if you're spending 90% of your time just talking with other South Asian people and hanging out with only South Asian people, change that. Right? Like find those groups which are not South Asian where you can hang, because you'll get a sense of the culture. You'll get a sense of how they approach these conversations. Right? Like when I see a South Asian interacting with me on salary versus somebody who grew up in Canada, those approaches are very different. Talk to them, ask them about how you would approach the conversation. I think those are the two things: courage,
Great.
understanding how to position yourself, and knowing your range.
Okay, Shutama has raised her hand. Shutama, before I ask another final question to Shomok, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to ask him that, even though I'm not an engineer, when I was also an international student, etc., did my PhD, went for a job, I didn't even know that I was at the bottom end of that salary scale when my dearest colleague is a white guy, and he was at $20,000 more. Sorry. Cut it. $3,000 more at the basic pay scale difference. And the only way I got to know about the gender anomaly is when my at that time Ryerson Faculty Association let me know that. So I had no clue what others were, and I was so happy with the pay scale I was in because I didn't know any better. So I'm just wondering, how would you advise people?
Like, so pay scale transparency is a big topic now, right? So pay scale transparency, it's actually law in Vancouver and that province. So if you search, you will get like the pay scale of every company, like that is posted. Every job posting has to have that. Lots of larger companies have actually started doing it voluntarily. Like if you look at Deloitte, we just changed it to be pay transparent on every job, on every level, right? So you will get an idea of the range. You'll get an idea of what the band looks like. Government jobs, sunshine list. Like you can look up salaries of every government official in Canada. Do your research. Know where you're coming from. Websites like Payscale I talked about has people submitting their compensation there. So do your research. Understand what is the band, and don't shortchange yourself. Like have the courage to ask for what you're worth.
Okay.
Can I
Shomok,
just
one
add
final.
one
Yeah.
thing to this one
Yeah.
is I think we have to remember, like newcomers, they have to remember the fact that when they get an offer, they're so scared to ask. Asking will not rescind the offer. They will still have their offer. At max, the company would say no to the higher salary. They're never going to say that you asked, so I'm taking away the offer. You don't have
Agreed.
a job.
Yes, that's the biggest challenge. I think a lot of, as Shomok mentioned, South Asians, they have, you know what, let me get it and live with it.
I'll give one other tip. Never quote a range. If you say 100 to 120K, you know what I'm hearing.
You'll get 100.
I'll give 100K.
You'll get 100.
I am hearing 100K. Right?
Yes.
So like never put a range there, put a number. Like the number that you want, put a number and ask. Like they can only say no.
Yeah.
Right. One question, Shomok, last thing is, how was this transition from engineering, software, IT to finance? Was it did the MBA help you, or did you take any additional bridging education to transition to understand the financial market of Canada and USA, like from your background?
No, I've never done a formal like program or education beyond my MBA. I think the MBA was very helpful. Like what I do is I advise financial services companies, right? So the job is like consultation. The job is to provide like strategic advice, transformation advice to the banking industry, which I largely serve. Uh, I think the shift was like there is a part which is the technical training which comes as part of an MBA, but I learned a lot of it on the job. Right, I learned a
Okay.
lot of it on the job, growing up through Deloitte, serving clients, learning from my seniors through the ages. I still believe like hands-on learning is probably the better method there.
Just for audience, I think Shomok, as far as I know, that Deloitte has been your only company since you started in Canada. So
I'm lazy to write a resume.
okay, I have a question in the panel here. This is for the women professionals in this panel here. Is that research has shown that it is extra difficult for the woman to not only secure but also sustain professional careers. So, what advice will you give to a newcomers or female newcomers before they consider to move to Canada? Should they ever come to Canada? Or what is your take? And I'm going to pick anybody, but anybody can volunteer and say any last tips. I think we are out of time, but we just give another couple of minutes to wrap this up.
Yeah, I can start, and maybe Pooja has a perspective here as well as and like we can go to like Moshumi and Shobita as well. So like in my role, one of my biggest challenges is keeping talented women till they reach senior levels at Deloitte. Like if you see our overall company ratio and the ratio of my team, it's pretty good. But as you climb the ladder, the ratio starts getting bad. And there may be factors of like what companies are trying to solve around equality, like looking at leadership of women. But a very real one is we do lose a lot of talented women like at our senior manager, the grade right below partner and director there. And that's mostly because of like home responsibilities comes down to lack of home help in Canada versus what we're used to in India. So I think I will mention one, which is you absolutely need a supportive like partner and a supportive family system that I cannot solve, but you absolutely need that. And like that to me is where it starts. I think as women, the like we can talk about equality all the time. I believe that a kid leads their mom in their early years way more than they need their dad, and that is never going to change. So I think like there's a part there. uh every company is trying to be more flexible and like add programs that allow working moms to contribute in their own way, and then any company is different. So maybe I just open it up to other panelists for a couple thoughts there.
Yeah, so I think Pooja was trying to say something. Pooja, go ahead.
You have to give importance to your career. Your career is as important as your spouse's career, irrespective of your gender. You are the person who has to feel that my career is as important. Similarly, the home responsibility is every member in the home should feel equally responsible to the child. I understand that your kid needs a mother more in the initial years, but you get those maternity leaves, which is very good in Canada compared to US. Right. So you take that and don't be afraid. There is no shame in sending your kid to a daycare.
Absolutely, 100%.
You should never feel guilty. You should never feel, because if you don't show your kid that you respect your career, you are not raising a kid who will respect his or her career or feel the way to respect his spouse's career. So it's very important you bring up that change from,
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pooja. And you have said exactly the right way. Now, for Moshumi and Shurovita, you both have a, what do you say, like a non-standard working career, you know, medical, you know, as you say, Shurovita mentioned, you know, if there's a medical dental emergency at 7 o'clock, your shift ends at 7, you cannot just sign out and just go, right? So from this medical perspective, what do you suggest, you know, for professional women, that your tips to the question or your answer to this brilliant question, I guess.
From my perspective is that when I started as a part-time because I felt that I needed to give more time to my kids to adjust to this new culture, new country. So yes, I was willing to sacrifice my career at that time because I felt that everybody needs adjustment. My husband was working as a fellow. He had 12 hours, 48 hours, 24-hour shifts. He wouldn't even come home. There were times because he was always busy. He's a cardiologist. He has to be on call. So I wasn't willing to like if I also go for that kind of shifts, it was not possible that my house would run. And here you don't have help. So that was a very big issue. Yes, I took a break. I was doing part-times for 3 years. And then the moment my husband came back, he was in US for almost 1 year. When he came back, in last 1 year, I jumped two careers. I mean, like two positions ahead. I just took a full time, jumped twice. So even if you take the break, I don't feel that it's like something you're not doing in a different way. I feel that at that time, my kids needed me more than anybody else, because ultimately is the structure is of the family. I let my husband grow at that time. I think it's more important for him to go to that achieve whatever it is. He's now joining as a consultant at Toronto General. So that sacrifice was worth it. And now, right now,
Okay.
yeah, I feel that now I'm jumping in maybe another 1 or 2 years I'm going to, it's just because I have that background. It helps me definitely to grow ahead. It's just that I chose to take a break. It was my decision, because I feel that I needed to nurture my kids at that time when they need me more. Back at home, my in-laws were there, they were doing that help. Out here, it's me who has to do
The
that
home
help.
support that Shomok mentioned, we don't have it, the
Yes,
luxury
we
here,
don't have
right?
it here. Yes, but
Right.
then yes, I don't feel bad that I made the sacrifice. I feel that it's worth, because I have seen my kids grow very differently the way they were growing back in India. I do not comment on the intelligence levels. I think out here, almost all the kids, the parents are all focused on developing them. But the way the education system here, it's very different. And I feel it's very good for the kids to open minds to a very different new perspective. Because I do not blame the Indian education system. It's very good, because of that, we all of us are here.
It's
I
a
do not,
different platform.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's
It's
a
a
different
different
platform. Yeah,
platform.
it's a different
Yeah.
platform. So I feel this kind of education is important for them to see the way they grow. So personally, I feel it's always a choice the woman has to make, or the family has to make. Right now, my husband is doing that sacrifice the which I did it. He's like doing mostly work from home till the time he gets into everything. He's doing the lunches, he's doing the dinners, which I used to do it. So he's picking and dropping kids. So
Switching the roles, switching
yeah,
the
we are
roles,
switching the roles. Yes, it's okay,
Yeah.
because this is my time when I need to grow. So
Yeah.
that mutual
Which
understand.
relates to what Pooja mentioned, that you have to
Yes,
also give value
yes,
to your career,
yes,
and your partner needs to be adjusting to that.
yes.
So we'll give Surabhita to say a couple of things if you want to add. I think you already mentioned that in your question, that it is stressful, early hours, late shifts, right?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to
S-
add?
Yeah, I just want to add something. Since we are away from our like parents and our kids' grandparents, so they don't have enough people who they can look up as an idol. So this is a huge opportunity for mothers, especially, and especially if you have a daughter like me, that you show them the balance that you are doing. This is a great example that you can set. This is a great opportunity. You can show them that how you can balance the family, as well as you can value your responsibility at your professional area. So I think it is a great opportunity for me that I can set an example for my daughter that everything is equally important. Just be focused when you are at a particular zone. When you're in the family, be focused on your family responsibilities. When you're at work, you have to be focused there. And your family should understand this. And it is completely a balance that you should learn to like apply in your life. So yeah.
Absolutely. No, brilliantly said. I think I have covered all of the question. Shutama, if I missed something, please let me know. But before I go there, I think I'd like to thank all of you. We have the 5 great panelists here. I think you all covered 5 different unique fields of career. Definitely, you guys sounded so made it so comfortable. There's obviously challenges behind it. And Amitabh, I think you want to say something. So as Amitabh also mentioned, coming to Canada in a different province, finding the surprise, moving into Ontario. So there will be challenges. Today, all of you are in a position, but behind the scene, as Shomok mentioned from a student, I'm sure, he shared few things outside and offline with me before. There are many challenges, right? So you have to be open to those challenges when coming to Canada. There are networking opportunities. There's Purbayan here. So we are doing this event for many years now. So definitely reach out to people that you know within the community, meet outside the community, as Shomok mentioned, and visit Purbayan events and make it's a great place to even network people. So Amitabh, you had something to add? I think you raised your hand.
Yeah, in my profession in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, those ones who look the new job in newcomers. So I just suggest to create a profile in LinkedIn. Definitely everyone has a LinkedIn. Try to connect the people in the similar field, because we always see the people are looking for job. if there are any poster available in based on his experience, we definitely reach, and we reach. Well, the people also reach. I know that LinkedIn is the one of the best thing, and it helped a lot. So I would suggest Indeed is one part, definitely, but when you link, you connect the people. So that's very important in Canada. That's very
Thank you.
important.
Yeah, that's definitely LinkedIn is one of the top professional networking social media. So yeah, so I think we have covered all our questions for today.
Yes.
I will give it back to Shutama to say anything else to conclude this this evening.
Yeah, I want to thank you all. Particularly, I want to thank Pritham because he not only he's an engineer himself, so obviously he has some expertise in that area, and so I left it in his, well-versed hands. But I think he did a brilliant job also with the
Thank you.
with the sciences area. And what one thing that I will really ask you to do is that this is not the end of it. This is just the start of the discussion, and we have been doing this for 11 years. But the main point that I want to raise is the reach out part. I understand what you said about LinkedIn, about Indeed, about other things, but I still think, as Shomok said, it's not just the South Asian reach out. Let's go outside of it. And that's why, please, I thank you all for actually signing up for the repository, the list that you are indeed wanting to help. And if Purbayan can be that conduit that will link you with the newcomers, that will be wonderful. Thank you all for your service, and have a good night.
And Shutama, do you want to say the website for our Purbayan? Just if people wants to interested in
Yes,
know more
definitely.
Purbayan.
Yeah, sure. Please, on Facebook, if you type Purbayan Canada, and you can contact us, or you can contact me. My first name is Sutama at torontomu.ca. Please feel free to contact me. You can see my name also on the Toronto MU website. So my name is Shutama
Great.
Kosh. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Signing off now. Take care. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.